What happened inside that restaurant was not loud at first. There was no stage, no barricade, no staff directing people where to stand. Just a public space, a private moment, and one of the most recognizable faces in the world sitting down to eat. Look at this closely. The footage that spread online didn't begin with chaos. It began with proximity. Fans noticing. Whispers turning into movement. Phones coming out one by one. This is where everything started to change. Here, what most people overlooked. This wasn't an organized fan interaction. There were no rules, no limits, no consent established in advance. Yet the behavior shifted, as if this was an official event. Autographs were requested. Photos were demanded. The distance between tables disappeared. And with every second, the situation became harder to control. This wasn't a coincidence. When someone as globally famous as Jungkook appears in a normal setting, the rules of that setting quietly collapse. A restaurant stops being a restaurant. It becomes a spotlight. People don't just see a person. They see an opportunity that may never come again. And that mindset is dangerous. Because the moment one person steps closer, others follow. The moment one phone is raised, dozens appear. Suddenly, there is no clear line between admiration and pressure. And pressure always builds faster than people expect. From the outside, some clips looked harmless. Smiles, quick signatures, short interactions. But context matters. This was not a space designed for crowd control. There was no security perimeter. No exit path kept clear. Safety doesn't fail all at once. It erodes quietly. Every time someone leans in a little too close. Every time someone ignores discomfort because they don't want to miss the moment. The internet noticed this immediately. Not because Jungkook did something wrong, but because the situation never should have reached that point. People began asking the same question again and again. Why was this allowed to escalate? Clips were replayed frame by frame. Comments pointed out body language, the lack of space, the imbalance of power. This wasn't about fandom pride anymore. It was about boundaries. As the videos spread, the tone shifted. This wasn't excitement. This was concern. Fans who had followed BTS for years were the first to speak up. They recognized the pattern. They had seen how quickly just one photo can turn into something unsafe. And they knew this moment could have ended very differently. Because crowds don't need bad intentions to become dangerous. They only need momentum. What makes this incident stand out isn't how dramatic it looked. It's how normal it felt to the people inside it. That's the real warning. When situations like this feel acceptable, they repeat. And repetition increases risk. Eminuju, KLMKS/payoff. Now everything makes sense. The outrage wasn't sudden. It was delayed. People weren't reacting to one clip. They were reacting to years of similar moments piling up. This explains why it ended this way. Not with applause. Not with praise. But with discomfort and reflection. The truth finally caught up. Fame doesn't erase the need for personal space. Kindness doesn't cancel out safety concerns. And silence in the moment doesn't mean consent. Jungkook handled the situation calmly. That much is clear. But calm should never be confused with obligation. No artist owes access to their private life. No fan is entitled to proximity. What the internet reacted to wasn't chaos. It was the normalization of intrusion. And once people saw it clearly, they couldn't unsee it. This incident became a mirror. A reminder that admiration without limits stops being admiration. It becomes pressure. And pressure always leaves marks, even when no one gets hurt. Dove PNUTUP, EMOSONAL. The truth didn't need noise. It only needed time. And that was enough. Enough for people to step back. Enough to question behavior that once felt harmless. Enough to remember that respect is shown most clearly when no one is watching. Time has a way of slowing moments down after they pass. When the noise fades, what remains is clarity. In hindsight, this wasn't just about one night or one location. It was about how easily admiration can turn into expectation, and how expectation can quietly remove choice. What many people didn't realize is how exhausting these moments can be. Not physically, emotionally. Imagine knowing that every ordinary action could become content. Every meal, every step, every pause. There is no switch to turn that off. And when someone is placed in that position, saying no becomes complicated. Not because they can't, but because they're aware of how their response will be interpreted. A smile can be misread as permission. Silence can be mistaken for agreement. Politeness can be taken as obligation. That's the imbalance no camera ever captures. The discussion online eventually moved beyond outrage. It turned inward. Fans began questioning themselves. Not accusing. Reflecting. At what point does support become pressure? At what point does closeness become entitlement? These aren't comfortable questions, but they are necessary ones. Because respect isn't proven when access is granted. It's proven when distance is kept. There's a reason official events exist. They create safety for everyone involved. Clear boundaries. Clear roles. Clear expectations. Without those structures, even good intentions can cause harm. What made this moment resonate wasn't fear. It was vulnerability. A reminder that no amount of success makes someone immune to being overwhelmed. No level of fame removes the need for control over one's own space. And maybe that's why this incident stayed in people's minds longer than most. Because it felt human. No scandal. No shouting. Just a quiet realization that something wasn't right. Over time, the conversation softened. Not because it was forgotten, but because it was understood. Understanding changes behavior more than anger ever could. And in that sense, this moment mattered. Not as a warning, but as a lesson. That the most meaningful form of support isn't proximity. It's restraint. Not access, but awareness. And sometimes, the most powerful way to show love is to step back. Let the moment pass. Let the person breathe.